Peace and love, everybody. Salute to my people. What's up, y'all? I was thinking about something that I found very curious. So we managed to get through some huge fights, you guys, over the past, say, 3.5 months, right? We had Devin Haney in April. We had Tank versus Frank in June. We got Core about 2 weeks ago. And now we just came off of the Boots fight last weekend. Boots definitely showed up and showed out last weekend, right? And I'm sitting back thinking, yo, what an insane journey we have been on as boxing fans. It's been absolutely nonstop, you guys. And we're only midway through the year. And we have had such a suspenseful roller coaster ride of fights and storylines on top of that. Not just fights, but all types of, suspense and surprises and unexpected turns and scandals. Ooh, child. It really has been nonstop out here in these boxing streets, right? And now, since I guess coming off of the last fight that we just experienced with Boots last weekend, I find it interesting that the landscape currently is kind of slowing down, is kind of cooling down a bit, right? The pace of excitement has calmed down, not really too much dialogue going on. There's sort of a lull happening, a silence in the air. And I'm wondering why, because we have a really big fight that's coming up, at least from probably the face of boxing right now currently, we could say. The pound for pound number one in the sport. He's next up. And that is Terence Bud Crawford. Okay, his fight is coming up on August 3rd. So that is barely 2 weeks away now. Just 2 weeks away we are from that fight. And even though we are so near this fight, it's so perplexing to me that this is probably the least talked about fight of the year. Real talk. I mean, aside from Fury and Usyk back in May, this is right toe-to-toe next to that fight as far as it's the non-discourse surrounding it, right? I haven't heard a peep from boxing goers about this matchup, y'all. I'm not even gonna cap to you. It really has not been circulating on the airwaves. The only thing I recall really about this fight is its announcement. But even that was like on the periphery. That didn't really cause a stir. It didn't really break ground, the announcement of that particular fight some months ago. So everything about this fight really has been in the wind, so to speak. The pound for pound number one boxer in the world has no interest generating for his fight. And this is his first fight back since his epic victory last July. That's so interesting to me, you guys. I don't know if I'm the only one looking at it like this, but Bud Crawford is himself an interesting character in my view because he is highly coveted for his skills. He's proven himself against Earl Spence, as mentioned last July, when he pulled off a shocking, dominant, beautiful victory against EJ, right? He's also a man who is nothing less than dedicated to the sport. He is probably highly known and highly touted for his dedication to the sport. He's a master of his craft, okay? And up until this point, he's really proven to the world that he stands alone in this boxing game, right? However, despite all of this credence and prestige that we could attribute to him, he doesn't seem to translate well to me. Okay, prior to this defeat of EJ, I guess we could all agree that he wasn't necessarily a person who could garner, let's say, big numbers or big sales for his fights, right? Viewership. It wasn't really to the degree of, let's say, an EJ or, another, high seller, high earner, Canelo and things like that. He wasn't necessarily among that particular list as a fighter. But after, of course, defeating Earl, his popularity and his stock rose to unprecedented heights, okay? Heights that he's never previously reached. That goes without saying. He became a well-known name, a quote, household name. And all of the world basically stood back and watched him in awe, right? Coming off of such a great defeat and such a monumental victory. Everybody was kind of sitting back in awe and watching him and all the acclaim that he gained from that. Yet it seems that, it's still something's missing there, because on the dawn of his upcoming fight, not many people are clamoring for it. Now, this upcoming fight on August 3rd is significant enough because this will be Bud's official debut at the 154-pound division, okay? Additionally, he will be fighting for the WBA and WBO interim title, okay? Israel Madrimov, is the current WBA champ, and of course, he's going to be defending this title against Crawford in this particular fight. I think that there are several factors at play here regarding the sense of disinterest in this fight, and probably Bud right now as a whole, the sense of reticence, a sense of impartiality towards this particular fight. The first being the aforementioned, right, where Bud Crawford, though he garnered an unprecedented amount of respect and stature due to his victory last year, he's still at a distance, it seems, from an engaging, appeal with fans and with media alike. There's a distance there between him really solidifying and making that connection to the public for whatever reason. I'd also posit that there is an expectancy. Another reason why there may not be so much interest in this fight is because that there's an expectancy from the boxing world already latent within, people's consciousness that, we are expecting him to win. I mean, to put it simply, I can't say that I've seen too many concerns going around, about Bud's ability or inability to overcome Madrimov. I have not seen anything of that. It's kind of an unspoken knowing that all boxing fans have at the moment, where we basically surmise that this should be a fight that he gets his hand raised for, period, point blank, period, simple as that. Stylistically, Madrimov, from what I've seen very briefly of him, he doesn't appear to possess any attributes that can bring Bud's tower down, so to speak, right? To me, from the outside looking in, Madrimov is, he's an okay fighter. He's a decent fighter. He likes to brawl. It seems like when he gets close and in the pocket with his opponent, he likes to throw his hands. He gets kind of aggressive, kind of fierce with it. His stamina seems like it's okay. I don't see at all where he's defensive. Okay, I did not peep any head movement from him or any significant footwork that Bud would have an issue keeping up with or have any type of complication in completely dominating, if I'm honest. Real talk, I think Bud is going to outclass the fuck out of him. Okay, let me just keep it all the way stacked there. If I'm being completely honest, I think it's just going to be an absolute, masterclass from Bud. The dude Madrimov, he does look strong, he is a fighter, but on his resume, he has never faced the athleticism, the IQ, or the sheer versatility of somebody like a Bud Crawford. He just hasn't faced it. So I have no doubt that in this fight, the levels will be shown betwixt them. Okay, betwixt them. There's going to be levels completely displayed and evinced for everyone to see. Real talk, even though it seems that everything has been done to, and I spoke about this previously, even though things have been done to sabotage and kind of derail the interest and detract from the excitement of what the real fight is, as far as I'm concerned, the fight that people are really anticipating in the back of their minds, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, for Bud. That's, of course, the fight with EJ. It still poses to be Bud's most significant fight, okay, of his career, and that is the rematch with him and Earl Spence. Despite the surgeries on EJ's end, despite the delays, the questions, and the uncertainties about EJ's health, the rumors of all types of retirement from both men, the threats to move on to Canelo, this fight is still one of them ones. This fight is still, to me, one of the fights that will make him, outside of the initial fight, I think the rematch still stands to certify Bud in the fire, so to speak. EJ stated that he intends to return to the ring at the end of the year to face Fundora, which will be his official entrance into the 154-pound division. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I think that silently the world is waiting for them to collide again. I mean, they're both heading up in their weight classes. They're both going to be, among each other. Why not? Why not? Especially since the fight was so controversial for so many reasons. Even though it was a beautiful display and beautiful performance by Bud Crawford, it was controversial nonetheless, of course, because we know that that was not the EJ that we were used to seeing. And some speculate it's because Bud Crawford was just that much better than him. And then you got the other hand where people say, listen, something had to be wrong with EJ because, I mean, when did EJ ever get stopped by a jab? So it's just so many angles and, speculative analysis going on with that fight. I think it makes it that much more important, that much more imperative that the rematch take place at some point. But, we'll see. I don't know if that fight will ever happen. But, of course, seeing those two giants walking among each other, of course, it's going to bring questions. Of course, it's going to build anticipation, without a doubt. So we'll see what happens. Either way it goes, it's definitely thick with palpability and possibility. So I'm definitely on my end looking in like, I hope it does happen, but we'll see. I think in the meantime, should Crawford get past Magour, as I'm expecting him to on August 3rd, he really does have options on the table to play with. He and Danny Garcia would be a really good fight. I'd love to see, Bud and Charlo. You know what I'm saying? What the hell is up with Charlo? Depending on what condition he's in, Jamel, where are you? Like, where in the world is the former undisputed champ at 54? I don't know where this man is at. I really don't. But I'd also, another good fight if Charlo is nowhere to be found or whatever, for Bud is Tim Tszyu. I'd like to see that. He has things to play with. He really does. It's definitely food for him, to eat well off of in the division. And I think it's really good time to pass while Earl figures out his game plan, whatever that is. So, we'll see what happens, y'all. One thing for sure is that Bud is 30 goddamn 6 years old. So I cannot account for, the amount of time that he feels he has left. I can't gauge that. Okay. I just know that he's, hitting up into his higher 30s. And, this is prime time for people to start, having those conversations with themselves. Like, okay, what's my escape plan? I've got X and X amount of time. Here's the window I'm operating with. And here's the end goal. And this is the date for that. So I don't know if that's on his mind already. But for what it's worth, he looks to be in fantastic shape. The training videos that I saw, he looks stronger already, going into this 154-pound division. He looks super healthy. He looks super jacked. And it's beautiful to see him in such phenomenal shape. And it just lets me know that whatever the game plan is, he definitely intends to go all in. I can't wait to see his performance come August 3rd. And I think that the fight will definitely put into motion some much needed clarity as to what we can expect from him as we go into the new year as well. So hopefully after he bypasses Magour, we get a little bit more enlightenment and insight into, what he intends to do next, what his goals are. And I'd love to hear him call out some specific names as well, because we already know he called out Canelo, I don't know how many times. But now that he's entering into 154, I haven't really heard him call anybody's name. So it'll be wonderful to see what his plans are at 154. I mean, does he intend to just fight Magour and see what's up with, unifying with that Fundora Spence fight? Whoever that winner is, I don't know, but I'd love to hear him put a name to his vision, put a name to his goals, because that can certainly also garner a lot of support and a lot of interest from boxing fans who are looking in. Because I could say that's probably another issue as well, is that we don't really know the intention of Bud Crawford to try to claim undisputed at 54. We heard him mention 68, but we have not heard his vision and his plans for 54. And I certainly want to hear him call out the killers at 54, because that'll certainly get my interest piqued. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, who you calling out? All right, you want his head? Let's go. I could back stuff like that. You know, when the vision is clear and when I feel that passion. But right now it's kind of vague, which has definitely been a mystifying factor for me. But yeah, hopefully we get a little bit more clarity after this Madrimov win, should he come out successfully. And hopefully some good names are on the horizon for him that he can call by name. And if we're lucky, I don't know, we just might go fishing again. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm on to the next. Peace.